All right, we are back for the finals of the Cabbages and Kings Win a Case tournament. So here's what's happened. There was a top cut to the top four players, and those four players decided to split the prizes evenly. But there is consensus that we wanted to see the top two, the undefeated players, Garrett and John, duke it out for some bragging rights. And so they went ahead and played a single game to see who comes out on top. So let's check it out. All right, we've got Garrett on the left with that Kylo Ren from Legends of the Force with Data Vault, and John with Qi'ra on the Data Vault. We've seen both these players in action already with some dominating performances. So this is just a best of one, and they did agree that they would pre-board. So they are basically treating this as if they're both 1-1 and they're going into game three. So it looks like Garrett has the initiative here. So these are both those blue-green villainy control decks on Data Vault. And so usually when you're playing a deck like this, your game plan is just to uh, make it past any early aggression and then come in at the end. But with the same game plan, it's really going to turn to a battle of the wits here. And so Garrett and John both having no opting not to have a turn one play. Garrett on turn two plays resupply, so going up to 5 resources going into turn three. John at 4, and Garrett gets another resupply here, and John counters with his own. Garrett bringing down the Onyx Squadron Brute, and John using Dr. Pershing's ability to deal 1 damage to it to get another card, and it looks like it was another resupply drawn. So both players ramping very quickly, and already we have Garrett going into 7 resources. So Kylo Ren can come out and deploy, but with so much removal that John probably has, you want to delay that. So Garrett brings out Maul for 7, ambushing into Dr. Pershing, who had 1 damage on it, and then with Overwhelm, dealing 3 damage to base. So 3 damage on Data Vault. John at 6 resources. And we see resupply. John catching up on the resource game. Garrett going for 2 damage into base with the Onyx Squadron Brute. John taking initiative here. And Garrett is going to start cycling in those upgrades into the discard. We see a constructed lightsaber go in. And remember, Kylo's ability allows you to discard a card and from your hand, and if it's an upgrade, you get to draw a card to replace it. Because we know when Kylo deploys, you can play upgrades from your discard pile. So John plays Timely Intervention with the Darth Vader unit, and so we know looks like he's just going to give a shield to Maul. And the on attack from Vader, defeating a shielded unit, goes into effect. And Garrett counters with a Power of the Dark Side. John, 1 resource open. Remember, no leaders have been deployed. So it looks like John claims. And Garrett's going to discard Shadowed Intentions. It is off aspect, but basically it says a unit cannot be defeated or bounced to the hand by an enemy card ability. And so this is really great in these control matchups where you deploy Kylo and it can't be taken out by a removal. It just has to be defeated straight up. Now, of course, if John's running any upgrade removal, that can be very handy. All right, so John taps 3 and brings out Power of the Dark Side to take out the Onyx Squadron Brute. And it has the when defeated ability to heal some damage from the base, but no damage on Garrett's Data Vault, so nothing to heal there. John brings out the second Legends of the Force Vader, just giving itself a shield. We saw Garrett discard the Heirloom Lightsaber. You see these Kylo decks running a lot of on-off aspect cards because of the new Anakin Skywalker from Legend of the Force, 6-drop mono blue. that if you have a heroism card in this card, you can give a enemy unit -3/-3, and same thing for the if there's a villainy card. All right, so John goes into base for 5 from Vader. Garrett is going to defeat his super laser tech by ramming it into Vader, pinging off the shield, and getting another resource. And John brings out his own super laser tech. Garrett, for 11, plays out Annihilator and gets to defeat any card in John's hand and deck named Darth Vader. So that's going to really hurt for John here. And that Annihilator has that ability when played and when defeated. So we see the 3 Spark of Rebellion Vaders getting discarded from John's deck. The thing is these Qi'ra decks often run Palpatine's Return. So if you draw that card, you can often just play those cards out of your discard. So it's not the end of the line. However, it does hurt to see all those cards not being able to be played. So not sure if John was only running 2 of the new Legends of the Force Vaders, or maybe 1 was in the resource row. But definitely tough spot for John here. One of the best cards in these villainy, blue-green villainy decks. So John claims there. Garrett passes. Still no leader deploys. Remember, we saw John do this earlier, being very strategic, trying to get the most value out of Qi'ra deploying. So we see Annihilator being defeated, and Super Laser Tech being defeated off the Annihilator ability. So Garrett just going through to see if there's any other Super Laser Techs, but this also gives the player with Annihilator really good information, because you can see what's left in your opponent's deck, right? See what could be coming at you. Very good in a situation where you don't see the deck list, so you can see any maybe spicy includes, but also you can see if since you see the hand and the card, you can get an idea of what's in the resource row. And John remembers that he can put his super laser tech that was defeated into the row as a readied resource. And now we see Relentless come down, meaning that the first event someone plays a turn doesn't take effect. But this is an important distinction, is that there was an event played before the Relentless came down, so Super Laser Blast does work there. Alright, so Garrett discards another constructed lightsaber. So we know whenever this Kylo Ren comes out, it's just going to be a huge flip. John plays Vigilance, healing 5 damage from his base, and Garrett milling the top 6. We see 2 Avengers get defeated. Very, very hard hit for Garrett there. You do not want to see that when your opponent plays Vigilance on you. So Garrett now does play Kylo Ren, and we'll see what upgrades. So we have Shadowed Intentions, really smart play here to shut off any of those removal spells. So he taps 5 for that, and then he goes ahead and puts 2 constructed lightsabers on him. So that gives 2/3 power, but then also if it's a villainy unit, gives raid. So Kylo is a 9/11 right now, with that will hit for 13. Now Qi'ra deploys, bringing 5 damage onto Kylo Ren, and Garrett going ahead and hitting base for 13. Now Qi'ra gets attached the Craving Power. So he's going to deal 6 damage to Kylo, taking it out. So really good heads up play. Even with Shadowed Intentions, you can be defeated by just those cards that just deal damage. So nice heads up, patient play by John. And so 15 damage on John's base, 11 on Garrett's. And looks like Garrett's going to tap 3 there for Power of the Dark Side, taking out Qi'ra. So both leaders have now been deployed. So it's basically who can get some big units out there to stick and just start pounding away at the base. John paying 7 for Maul to come out, a 7/6. Garrett playing another Power of the Dark Side. Now this is that question of how many Power of the Dark Sides have he played. And he's going through, so he has played all 3. I think that's what he was checking there. Meaning that any other removal is going to have to come from things like Rivals Fall, or No Glory Only Results, or maybe a Super Laser Blast. Okay, so Garrett brings out his own Dr. Pershing. These small cost cards at this point are good because it gives a target when your opponent plays Power of the Dark Side. So John claims here, doesn't have anything to play. We see an overwhelming barrage in there and some other removal spells. I think there was a Rivals Fall. You see John tap 4 resources here for Fell the Dragon, taking out that Maul. Garrett tapping 10 for Devastator, dealing tons of damage there. So it looks like Garrett at 14 resources, so that deals 14 damage to a unit on deploy. John tapping the rest of his resources for that Rivals Fall. Garrett claiming initiative, John passing. We're going to see if Garrett can maybe draw more into his deck with this Dr. Pershing, get those cards that he needs to finish off, while John, he can just keep the board clear. He did fire off a Vigilance earlier, so in terms of having more cards in the deck, I think he's winning that race. And we know Garrett has been discarding extra cards and drawing through because of Kylo's ability. So this gotta be important, with the milling. And John hits him with another Vigilance. So we see 6 more cards milled from Garrett. Do see an Anakin Skywalker discarded and a No Glory Only Results, as well as some upgrades. We see Inferno 4, Garrett looking at the top 2 cards, putting them both on the bottom, so not something that he really is looking for. John plays No Glory Only Results to defeat the Inferno 4, and this allows himself to trigger the ability. And he keeps both those cards. Oh, he puts them on the bottom. And he also heals, so John is back to 10 on his base, Garrett at 11. They're both on Data Vault, which is a 33 health base. And Garrett gets to play the Rey from Shadows of the Galaxy. And if you control Kylo Ren as a leader or a unit, you can ignore the villainy aspect penalty on it. John claims initiative here. And we see Garrett playing Darth Vader. So basically asking John, do you have a way to clear my board here? We know John has played at least 1 Super Laser Blast. Sometimes these Qi'ra decks only run 2 But, he could have up to 3 here, and we do see the second Super Laser Blast come out. So basically, again, Garrett's saying you need to have it. And with the Data Vault decks, when you have a little less consistency, sometimes you take that risk. So Garrett paying 7 for Maul here. I think Garrett at 15 resources total. So it's around 8, looks like 8 resources open for Garrett. John pays 5 for no glory only results. So John at 13 total resources. Again, Garrett at 15. Garrett with 8 open. He discards Kylo Ren's lightsaber to get a card draw. Looks like Craving Power was drawn. And Garrett looks like drew into at least one Inferno 4. So we see the Avenger in hand, but John doesn't want to play it yet. He wants to get full value out of it. So you play a small unit first, like we're seeing here. Maybe bait out any of these effects, like when played, when defeated. And then you play your Avenger. So Garrett doing a similar thing, just playing out the Inferno 4. And it looks like there was a Jedi lightsaber, maybe looked at, and another card. Didn't see what that was, but they're both going to the bottom. And now John plays that Avenger. When played and on attack, opponent defeats a non-leader unit. So Inferno 4 getting defeated. And it looks like Garrett very low on cards here. I think that was maybe only 4 or 5 cards left in the deck. And remember, when you run out of cards in your deck, every time you're supposed to draw, you have to deal 3 damage to your base. But now we see Palpatine's Return come out. So you get to bring something out from the discard. And I think we're going to see this Annihilator come down. And Garrett's going to get rid of all of John's Avengers here. So none in the hand. John helping Garrett out. Garrett's already seen, the deck. So another Avenger gets defeated. So this is very helpful for Garrett, as he's weathered a lot of no glory only results, a couple Power of the Dark Sides, those 2 Super Laser Blasts. And now it's saying, John, do you have an answer to this? Looks like a Timely was drawn and a unit was drawn. Didn't quite see what it was. Garrett having that nice Prestige Annihilator that shows full art sideways. Alright, so we see Timely Intervention. Or decides against it. I think he realized with nothing in the ground arena, you can't do the Timely Intervention Vader play because it has nothing to attack in. So even if you give a shield to Annihilator, you can't get that Vader trigger right away. See, Craving Power in Garrett's hand. So anything John plays can get instantly deleted by Craving Power on the Annihilator, which is a 12/12. So we see a Lom Pike coming out of the row with that 5 resource smuggle cost. So Supremacy Tie does have Sentinel, so we might see a removal come out to defeat that. Garrett plays Timely Intervention, and we see Anakin Skywalker. So this is going to give -3 to a villainy, or sorry, to up to 2 units, or 1 unit twice, because Garrett has the both hero and villainy cards. But with the ambush, he gives -3 to Lom Pike and just ambushes in and kills it, as well as giving -3/-3 to the Supremacy Tie. So great 2-for-1 play there, clearing the space arena for Annihilator to attack. Again, John on 10 has 10 damage on his Data Vault. Garrett 11. Garrett having Annihilator and Anakin Skywalker out. Looks like John claims And an attack from Annihilator brings John up to 22 damage. Looks like there may have been a no glory only results drawn, which would allow John to take out Annihilator and defeat Anakin and go through the deck there. So we see 5 come out for no glory only results. And Garrett only have 4 cards left in the deck. So no more Anakin Skywalkers. But this is getting scary for Garrett. As in 2 turns, he will start taking damage from his draws. So we see Darth Vader come out for Garrett. And we see Devastator in John's hand, but Darth Vader does have a shield. Alright, Garrett playing Craving Power on Darth Vader to defeat the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Again, that gives a unit +2/+2 as an upgrade and allows you to deal damage equal to the power to an enemy unit. And we see Pike Sentinel come down and a second Craving Power to clear it out. Because Garrett wants to keep that shield on it because that Devastator, it deals damage and the shield defeats it. So Darth Vader, 9 power. A swing from Vader would bring John up to 31 damage on base. I think John trying to see if he has enough resources for Devastator into Overwhelming Barrage. Looks like he's 1 short there. Looks like he does have Vigilance, and it looks like Takedown. Looks like his hand at least has Devastator, Overwhelming Barrage, Timely Intervention, Vigilance, Takedown. Can't quite see the card all the way on the left. Might be a Craving Power. Craving Power and Overwhelming Barrage both cost 5. Looks like John's at 14 resources. Devastator costing 10. John just counting up the resources again. Yep, he is at 14. Alright, so for 10 we see Devastator come down, take out the shield. Now Garrett puts another upgrade on there. Looks like it was another Craving Power to defeat Devastator, and Garrett has lethal, and John has no removal, and Garrett swings in with Vader for 11, takes him out. So Garrett is our champion of the Cabbages and Kings Win-A-Case. Hope you enjoyed watching these matches, and see you next time. Thanks.